Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi. Good morning, Danny. I know it's cold where you are. And this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Well, we had someone fix our spotlights out back, and I'll tell you, when I turn those on, you can see everything for a mile in every direction, it seems. No, it's really just like an acre or two, but it does make me feel more comfortable letting my Corgi out in the winter when I'm hearing those coyotes nearby. So that was exciting. Also, we're at that time of day that happens in the winter when the sunlight comes through my chandelier and there's crystal rainbows all over the walls around where we are, which I think is interesting because today we are going to be talking about prayer with hospice care. And this is not necessarily only useful for hospice care, but we're certainly wanting to pray during hospice, and that helps us, the people losing the loved one, as much as it helps the animal or person crossing the rainbow bridge. And I really want to talk about this book, Secrets of the Lost Mode of Prayer, The Hidden Power of Beauty, Blessing, Wisdom, and Hurt. And it's by Greg Braden, who is one of my favorite authors. All of his books have been wonderful. And The Secret of the Lost Mode of Prayer is a book that Linda Tellington always highly recommends. She read it years ago, and it has stayed with her. So it is a profound book. And I'll just read you what it says about it on the Hay House website, because it's published by Hay House. Could our deepest hurts reveal the key to a powerful form of prayer that was lost 17 centuries ago? What can we learn today from the great secret of our most cherished traditions? There are beautiful and wild forces within us. With these ancient words, the mystic St. Francis described, remember St. Francis, he's the patron saint of the animals, described what ancient traditions believe was the most powerful force in the universe, the power of prayer. Very important to have prayer around the time of crossing the rainbow bridge. You have 4 crystals in your window. Yes, they are so pretty. And Greg Braden has searched for evidence of this forgotten form of prayer for over 20 years, and it was lost to the West during, and as were many things, during the early biblical edits in the Christian church. Part of the tradition of Hanukkah was in part of the Bible, which was later deleted. And so, there's lots of things that are ancient wisdom that just didn't make the edit. What can I say? There's editors everywhere. So in the 90s, Greg Braden documented this form of prayer still being used in remote monasteries in Tibet. So it is similar to the information I gave you about what's included in the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. And he also found that this ancient form of prayer was practiced in sacred rites in the high deserts of the American Southwest. No surprise there. There are many links in traditions of Native Americans, indigenous people, South America traditions, the Russian steppes. Things are very similar, remarkably, across continents and cultures, which gives some credibility to the power of these ideas and thoughts. So Braden describes this ancient form of prayer that has no words or no outward expressions. This is the first time in print in the 90s, and he leads us on a journey exploring what our most intimate experiences tell us about our deepest beliefs. And then he uses case histories and personal accounts and explores the wisdom of these timeless secrets and the power that is within each of us just beyond our deepest hurts. So in a lot of ways, our deepest hurts become our greatest victories if we are able to process them. And that's certainly not something new. Bernie Siegel talks about that, and plenty of other people, certainly even in the AA tradition. The idea that you've been through the worst and it will only get better is part of what helps people keep going. So what does prayer like this have to do with hospice care? It doesn't matter if you're praying to the universe, to Mother Nature, to St. Francis, or to God, or just to your deeper wisdom or the animal's deeper wisdom. That idea of prayer is very correlated with the idea of intention. So praying for a peaceful passing, praying for a good life if you want to include reincarnation next time around, and thanking the animal for spending the time with you on the earth plane that he's been here. These are the kinds of things that you would include in this silent prayer while you're being with the animal or the person in a hospice time. And praying can be so helpful to you as well. And really, it is setting your intention. You're saying, thank you for the gifts you have given me in my life. I will use them and cherish them, and I will go on in my life in your memory, if I must, and use the wisdom I got from you to help others. And that is really the essence of any kind of prayer that we have. I know that when, there's plenty of studies now too, that when people are prayed for, they do better in surgery and aftercare than when people are not prayed for. Now, when I had cancer, I asked my mom, who's on a prayer chain from her church, and a few other people that I knew vaguely from the internet, not really, who do that kind of thing, to offer prayers for my wellness. Not for cancer not to kill me, not for, cancer to go away, none of that, just for wellness and wholeness. And that makes a big difference, because if you name the thing that you want to go away, you're giving it power. And that power can be shifted a little bit in a way that's not so good. So very important to include the positive end result in what you want your prayer to be about. So I had people praying for my wellness, and boy, I could really feel the difference. And I had them praying on the days I had chemotherapy. And I had a woman just ask me the other day at a party, oh, what did you do about the nausea for chemotherapy? I had no side effects whatsoever. I was working with my naturopath, but part of it was, I'm sure, that I had my mom's church ladies and guys praying for me on the days of chemotherapy in particular. And in this group, people just take like a few minutes out of their day all at the same time and just send some thoughts to the person they're praying for. And this has worked not just for me, but for plenty of people in their circle. And there are now Facebook groups where you can ask people to pray for a loved one in whatever tradition they subscribe to. So it really is about that power of intention and connecting with what is beyond us, which is where your animal is headed at his time of hospice. So don't forget to pray. And even if you have not prayed in 100 years, you don't have to pray in the traditional church way that you may have rejected or maybe embraced, but you can just pray to nature, pray to St. Francis, pray to the spirit of the dogs, the ancestral herd, the ancestral pride, all dogs that you have known and that ever will be, the diva of the dogs, whatever it is that speaks to you, pray to that entity, and the power of your thoughts will still help ease the passing of your animal over the rainbow bridge. So check out that book, The Secret Art of the Lost Mode of Prayer. It's a really great read around this time of year, as a matter of fact, and it's been out so long, there are plenty of cheap used ones online. So don't forget to pray when your animal is crossing the rainbow bridge. So we have a busy day today. I have a lot of clients this week. Everybody's trying to squeeze in their visits before the holidays, so we are busy. And today is no exception. Right, Tristan? Everybody stay warm. Hopefully we'll be back on Thursday. Friday we might not be back. I have a lot of clients that day and they start quite early. And actually I have a doctor's appointment Thursday morning, so we'll see what we do. But Wednesday I'm at my job. Right, Biscuit? Oh, your husband didn't get sick during chemo either. He had a lot of supporters. I swear, it really makes a difference. And, I just wanted it to get over as quickly as possible. So they had me in and out of there in an hour, and I drove myself home, and there's these commercials on TV. I feel sorry for people who have to commute like 2 hours to get chemotherapy and have someone drive them. And the Cancer Society does that for people without charging them. And they're trying to raise money, and all these people are saying, yeah, I got rides to chemo, but for me, it's 1.5 miles away. It was easier for me to go over there and come and go when I needed. And taking the Traumule, which is now called T-Relief, really helped. And then also, there's commercials on TV now about this drug Taxotere that I was on originally that made people lose their hair. And I was fortunate to be on a fancier, more expensive drug because I had such a bad reaction. So You never know what can happen in chemotherapy. And, you know, many kinds of cancer get 20 rounds of chemotherapy, whereas others like me get like 3 or 4. So it can make a big difference. But don't forget the lost mode of prayer, which is really just your intention, and using your inner wisdom to guide you with your pet across the Rainbow Bridge. So we'll see you in a couple days. Everybody stay warm. Bye-bye.